Or if it lands in the ocean, it might create a tsunami and you might drown. Or, like you were saying, the food chain could collapse as all this stuff comes up into the atmosphere and circulates around the globe by the wind system and blocks out the sunlight. So there are so many different ways you can go.
So you get to choose by just travelling to a different place. I'm going to go to Mallorca because that will be a famine event rather than a tsunami.
Do you know what? I think if you can't travel when there's a volcano, I'd be very surprised if you could travel when there's an asteroid.
How much notice would we get of an asteroid? Would we? I mean, I think Brian's right. I think there's a gap in the market for asteroid tourism. Because if it's a month, you might as well pick your venue, mightn't you?
Well, that's right. I mean, and people are looking. So NASA are looking, but you might be surprised to hear that the Brits are looking as well. And even at the National Space Centre in Leicester, they have a near-Earth object centre where they're looking for bits of space rock that could hit us. I mean, in the movies, it's portrayed as something that's like a fiery ball that comes very slowly through the atmosphere and then takes out Paris. I think is normally the place it's taken out at the moment. But in reality, these things are travelling extremely fast, and so this thing would slam through, and you kind of go, what? And by that point, it will have caused chaos. So we probably will have no warning. So I said that we are looking for them, but the thing is, when we look in the night sky at something that doesn't give off its own light, these things are dark, they're really hard to see. So you try and track them as they move against the star's background. But if something is coming straight for you, that's really hard to see.
Which are the problem ones in general.
Yes.
So from in Deep Impact, Bruce Willis lands on an asteroid with a couple of mates, troubled by his relationship with his daughter, I think. I can't remember the plot that well. But they attach rockets to it, don't they? And is that right? They blow it up, do they? Do they blow it up?
That's Armageddon.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
But the very worst thing you can do is blow it up. Because if you blow it up, then you've got a shotgun effect coming towards your planet.
So, from a health and safety point of view...
If you read the BBC
really
regulations...
Is attach... I mean, I'm not a scientist, but if you attach rockets to the asteroid, can't you just steer all the asteroids to a safer part of the universe that wouldn't... Surely that's what we should be investing public money in.
There's a sudden burst of magnetism from the sun, and then the sat-nav on the rockets goes awry, and the whole thing is just...
We are actually investing money in that. I mean, NASA have got a telescope on Hawaii, haven't they? They're trying to map... See, they're all in orbit. The ones that are really problematic are the ones that aren't. So comets that come in from the outer solar system and you don't see them. And by the time they get here, that's it. But the near-Earth asteroids are in orbit around the sun. And so we track them. And I think we have... What's the plan? To get them all the near-Earth asteroids above a certain size by 2015 or 2016, I think it is. Yeah. And then you can predict when they may come round. And one of the plans, which sounds even more ridiculous than Armageddon, is to just paint it black, one side of it. Because all you have to do is alter its orbit very slightly, and it misses the Earth very slightly. And so one thing you can do is cause one side of it to absorb more sunlight than the other.
Paint
and that
it
gives
black.
on one side. And that will give it enough kick because it absorbs a little bit more sunlight.
That's quite a tricky painting job, isn't it? That's a lot of trestle tables and...
It's easier than
get more than one quote on that one, definitely.
It's easier than it sounds.
Oh, right.
I'll give you that. Yeah, you've got to land on it with a paintbrush, which is the tricky bit. It was Carl Sagan, wasn't it? You should do it in your voice. He said if the dinosaurs had a space program, they'd still be around.
Yeah. If the dinosaurs still had a space program, it'd be crumbly but delicious. Sorry, I'm mixing up my favourite Carl Sagan. So something that I want to find out after, we're going to come back to some of these ideas, but before that, one of the complaints that we've had about the show is a lack of mathematical content. People are saying it's biological, it's cosmological, where's the maths? And so, to stop people whining, and I apologise, by the way, for stopping you whining, because I know you like it, there is... I shouldn't have said I know you like it like that. That suggests an entirely different subplot in my life, and a woman who I've kept in a well. So we have decided that, yes, we have biological, we have cosmological, but it's time for the mathematical, and so we have a new regular contributor. The world of stand-up and mathematics does not always go hand in hand, but one man dares to combine the two. Please welcome stand-up mathematician Matt Parker.
We've just heard that apparently the world's going to end on the 21st of December 2012 because the Mayan calendar's coming to a close. But why is the end of a calendar causing people to predict the end of the world? I mean, the old computer date calendar came to a close in 2000, and that didn't... OK, bad example. But why the Mayans? What's so great about their calendar? Sure, they're an ancient and mysterious civilization, but their calendar is actually rubbish. For a start, the photos are dreadful. They're all just pictures of low-resolution pyramids. But the actual... That's funnier than you're giving it credit, by the way. The actual calendar, they have 18 months each of 20 days. And as some of you I know have already worked out, that's only 360 days. It's over 5 days short of a full solar year. And people are using this to predict the end of the world. It can't even predict the end of a year. I think we should use a better calendar. Like a true nerd, I think we should be using the Unix calendar. And more people know what that is than I expected. Well, as you already know, I'm just repeating it. Unix time. All computers keep track of the date and the time by simply counting the number of seconds since midnight at the beginning of 1970, the dawn of the nerd epoch. And at the moment, we keep it as 32-bit time, so 32 ones and zeros keeping track. And that's going to run out in the year 2038. Just like the Mayan calendar. They had their 18 months of 20 days. They put those in groups of 20. They put those in groups of 20, and that went to a group of 13, which is what runs out in 2012. But we've now fixed Unix time. It's now 64-bit, and that's not going to run out until the 4th of December in the year 292,277... Please, I've memorised this. 77,026,596. You can check that on Wikipedia. And for the record, it's a Sunday. And given that's long after the Earth would have been subsumed by the sun, I think my prediction of the end of the world is much more reliable. Thank you very much, guys.
Very quickly, we made a little list. In fact, I went on Twitter and I asked people their favourite apocalyptic vision from the movies and from television, and I wanted to find out from a panel of scientists, and you, Andy, as well, which ones are likely. Now, The Road was a terrifying film in which all life has ended apart from human life. So, Adam, what is the likelihood of that?
That's extremely unlikely. Life is incredibly tenacious, and we're not a very successful species, to be honest. We haven't been around that long, we haven't even clocked up a good 500,000 years. On the other hand, we're very adaptable. We're probably the most adaptable species that's ever existed. I think the solution to the apocalypse for us is to live off-world. If we're really going to screw this planet up, let's set up shop somewhere else.
Have you seen The Road, Andy?
No.
It's very good. It's about a man who's trying to get a £1 back on his shopping trolley. And he goes on a big journey. It's not like The Road to Hong Kong. There's no Bob Hope in it. I found it a little bit of a downer. Lucy, my question for you. Planet of the Apes, somehow humanity seems to pretty much not exactly destroy itself, but we have a change in evolution, and eventually the other primates take over and are in charge, from orangutans, chimpanzees, etc.
Well, I do like to think that we are going to be taken over by some other species on the Earth. Sometimes I think we're the smartest, we get men into space, we do amazing things, but then other times I think that we're really not that smart and we're going to end up blowing ourselves up and the animals will be left and we won't be.
The most indestructible are the insects, aren't they? And after the nuclear testing that they did in the 50s, the life forms they found that hadn't flourished but had done all right were beetles and stuff like that.
There are more species of beetles than there are of any other type of animal on Earth. There are more bacteria than anything else that's ever existed. So if the apocalypse comes and we can look at it impartially, it's going to be beetles and bugs.
Planet of the Beatles doesn't sound like a...
Brian, have you got a favourite vision of the apocalypse from... obviously, you've worked on a reasonably apocalyptic movie as well.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Large Hadron Collider then.
No, we'll get round to you and your plans for the world. All these tiny little black holes sucking us away like leeches. Is that what happens? Have I confused my science there? And when I say my science, a loose collection of ideas from Look and Learn, 1978.
Yes. Yeah, I did work on Sunshine, which was an almost apocalyptic movie. Apocalyptic at the box office, it turned out. but Danny Boyle's film, which I liked. But that was the sun was... Lucy, you can verify the scientific accuracy of this. The sun was going wrong, and we sent a mission to fix it.
going wrong?
It was broken. Yeah, it was never specified how.
Did they try switching it off and switching it on?
I liked the imagery in that film.
Yeah.
Well, we've got from the audience how they think the world will end. We have with credits followed by outtakes, which I think is. Oh, you'll love this one, Cox. Large Hadron Collider becomes sentient, Skynet style. So you haven't thought of that, have you? It's one thing, the mini black holes, but well.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis turns out to have been a ghost all along. And I should say, can we add spoiler alert before I say that? Because this is entirely true. On Twitter yesterday, someone unfollowed me because I'd given away the fact Godot doesn't turn up in Waiting for Godot. No, entirely true. I was going to see this in January. Now you've ruined it. Consider yourself unfollowed. So there we are.
But you're right on that one, because you didn't say what Bruce Willis movie it refers to.
Oh, yeah, Sixth Sense. The oh, you can read that
Not
one. It's about
again.
the LHC. No, again.
The LHC will cause a black hole which will suck us all into an evil parallel universe where we have to start anew. So that wasn't an apocalypse.
No.
That was just transport.
A lot of hope.
Yeah, we just moved into a parallel universe, so that's not too bad.
So there we are. Thank you very much. We still never got round to the big crunch, which I'm told may well be a help, not a hindrance, but you can look that up on the internet. Find out for yourselves, heaven's sake. So, before the approaching apocalypse, we've just got time to thank our guests, Andy Hamilton, Adam Rutherford, Lucy Green and Matt Parker.
And just before the end of the show, we'd like to apologise again for the lack of editorial balance in only using science and reason to inform our debate. But I would personally like to assure you all that I'll be broadcasting a shamanistic Yuletide special in which I will be curing the lame using a magic memory drink I've made out of roots, herbs and things lying around in my winter solstice-aligned shed.
Weed killery, but delicious. But don't worry, because as long as we choose the right type of apocalypse, we all go together when we go.
And we will go together when we go. For a comforting fact that is snow. Universal bereavement and inspired.